This racing update is brought to you by Bet365, the world's favourite online betting brand.
What are you really gambling with?
It is that time of the day. Daily Telegraph journalist Shayne O'Cass joins me from the newsroom. Good morning to you, Shayne.
Good morning, Julie. How are we?
We are well. Shayne, before we look at today's racing, and we've got a big day ahead, we just need to go back over what happened last week. Last time we saw you, we were all trackside there for the Everest. What an incredible atmosphere. What an incredible day of racing. What were your thoughts on what we saw in that Everest?
Well, funnily enough, for a race that we all thought was very open, it actually went to script. I mean, the best horse won, the second best horse ran second, and the outsiders ran second, last and last. So from that perspective, it's good to see that we had a clean race and that no trainer or owner or slot holder went away thinking what might have been. Look, I suppose I Wish I Win was a little bit unlucky not to have got a bit closer. He was a bit held up there on the fence going up the rise. But you think they'd run this race 10 times and you get the same result, because this winner is, well, that's what he is. He's a winner. He doesn't know how to lose. I think if I Wish I Win had have got close to him, there's every chance that he would have fought back. I was a little bit surprised that Overpass compacted like he did, and Alcohol Free was very disappointing. But look, the run of the race, I suppose, was in secret. She posted the fastest last 600, 400, 200 of the whole meeting. And very hard to see a horse coming from last win in Everest when they run 107 and change.
And I Wish I Win off to the paddock for a spell. We'll see him again in 2024. What an incredible story that has been. But just, do we have an update on Overpass and Mau and what happened there?
Well, Mau had a very checkered preparation going into this year's Everest. Remember, he was signed for 2 years after running so well last year, but I don't think he had the wet track that he really needed to make him competitive. He had that little setback before he missed the start, missed a run, obviously. And then if you look closely, he did get a check up the rise when he was starting to come into the race, but he probably wasn't going to finish in the first 5, but he should be excused because I think he definitely would have finished closer. And the problem with Overpass was, just watching the race, Julie, I didn't think he was going that fast. I mean, he's a high cruising speed sort of horse anyway, but the stats showed that he went 6 lengths faster than the same first piece of the Sydney Stakes and 1.5 lengths faster than the Kosciuszko. So evidently he was going pretty quickly, and look, he just couldn't sustain that run up the rise, and he went backwards pretty quick. But you know, so did Alcohol Free. So when the two leaders in front both stop like that, it does tell you that they are going very quickly.
Well, just on the Cosy, what a training effort by Matty Dale with Front Page going back to back in that race.
Yeah, Matty Dale's one of the most unassuming and sort of modest trainers in the business. Statistically speaking, he's actually very highly regarded in the fact that he's got 19% winners to runners. It may not sound like a lot, but when you're a trainer and you haven't got Schnetzels and 9 Invincibles around the place and you're training 1 in every 5 horses wins, that's a pretty good record. Look, Matt paid a lot of tribute, as you would, to the previous trainer here. Done a great job with Front Page, but to win any race twice is a great achievement, particularly Kosciuszko, when last year's was a good Kosciuszko, but this one was a great one. So, yeah, look, he's a pretty fair horse, Front Page, and he's obviously a very good trainer, Matt Dale.
Indeed. All right, let's take a look at today's racing in Sydney. We have the Five Diamonds Prelude. What are your thoughts on this field?
Well, this is the second year that we've had the Five Diamonds. Last year, the race was won by Ellsberg, who had won the Epsom, or dead heated in the Epsom just before, and then he went on to win the Five Diamonds Prelude and win the Five Diamonds, the grand final. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this year, whether, in fact, it was the Quinella, I should say, Julie, last year of the Five Diamonds Prelude was the Five Diamonds grand final. So the point being there, obviously those horses that run well today are going to be the horses that we're looking at for the big one. I think it's an open field. When you think back last year, Ellsberg was a $2.80 favourite, whereas this year it's probably $5, half the field. So anything could really win it. If you do take a line through the Epsom, I suggest that you'd be looking at Democracy Manifest, a horse that won his first race at Dubbo, but he's come so far, and he really is probably racing at a peak. He was extremely unlucky in the Doncaster. He just got a bit held up there late when he was making his run the last 100. So look, I think he's probably the horse peaking at the right time, but big field, going to come down to luck and good riding.
Such a great story, Democracy Manifest, and we're going to actually chat with one of the owners coming up in the show, so stick around for that. It is such a great story. But we also have the Big Dance wildcard today. Chris Lees, he's going with the favourite.
Yeah, Chris Lees won the inaugural Big Dance last year, Julie, with I forget the horse's name now, but he was obviously a pretty good horse. This year he's going to have, he could have about 4 or 5 runners. I'd say a Rustic Dream was the name of that horse, by the way. Chris
I knew
Lees,
you'd get there.
Chris Lees could have a few more runners this year. He's got the favourite today, Spangler. Spangler won the provincial championship final, one of Chris's 5 winners in that race, and he won it by 5.5 lengths that day. He was absolutely extraordinary. He's gone back to the trials since his first run here in the Cameron, which is a very strong edition this year of the Cameron, and he absolutely bolted. He was at Gosford. He won by 6.5. So, look, I'm pretty keen on Spangler today. He loves Randwick. It's a good fast track, and they'll put a good speed on for him. I think he'll come over the top.
All right, Shayne, before we let you go, we're short on time, but a big day of racing in Melbourne. Of course, we've got the Caulfield Cup. Nash Rawiller, he's been in a career best form, and he's going to miss today's ride because of that suspension. Just quickly, what happened there?
Well, Nash got suspended at the midweeks there on Wednesday at Kensington. Right, he chose to miss the Caulfield Cup, and he'll also miss the Cox Plate just so he can ride in the Golden Eagle, which is obviously worth 10 million. He was going to ride Montefiore today. He was going to get down to 53.5, which is no mean feat, but he's been replaced by Blake Shin, so the horse will lose nothing there. Blake Shin's a champion jockey just like Nash, so look, it'll be a great day. I should mention J-Mac also reduced his weight to get down to 54 to ride Francesco Guardi for Chris Waller, and J-Mac's had 4 starts, 3 wins and a second on this horse, so he obviously likes him.
Obviously, he hasn't ridden that weight for about 2.5 years, so you know that he's feeling pretty confident if he's willing to do the hard yards for that one. All right, Shayne, always a pleasure. We will catch up with you again next week. Have a good day.
Thanks, Julie.
This racing update is brought to you by Bet365, the world's favourite online betting brand.
Imagine what you could be buying instead.